Somewhere on Earth right now, two people are leaning toward each other. Their eyes close, their lips touch. It happens so naturally that almost no one stops to ask why. But the real answer is far stranger than romance. Kissing isn't just an expression of love. It's a biological interview, running silently every time your lips meet someone else's. Think about it for a second. You've probably done this hundreds of times. But have you ever wondered what your body is actually doing in that moment? Your heart rate shifts, your pupils dilate, a flood of chemicals moves through your bloodstream. All of that triggered by something as simple as touching your mouth to someone else's. Why would evolution build something so elaborate for what looks, on the surface, like just a gesture? Start with the obvious question. Not every culture kisses the same way, and not every culture kisses at all. Anthropologists have documented societies where romantic mouth-to-mouth kissing was historically rare or entirely absent, while other cultures treat it as central to courtship. This alone tells you something important. Kissing isn't hardwired the way breathing is. It's something closer to a universal tool that culture picks up and shapes differently. But here's the twist. Even in cultures without romantic kissing, you still find behaviors that look remarkably similar. Face touching, nose rubbing, deep inhaling near a partner's cheek or neck. Something underneath the specific act of kissing seems to be doing real work, and researchers increasingly believe that work is about information. Your mouth, your breath, and the skin around your face carry an enormous amount of biological data. Saliva contains hormones. Breath carries traces of what someone has eaten, whether they smoke, and subtle signals related to their immune system. When you get close enough to kiss someone, you're not just sharing an intimate moment. You're running a kind of unconscious diagnostic. This idea connects to a concept researchers call assortative mating, essentially the tendency to choose partners based on genetic compatibility. One of the clearest examples involves a group of genes called the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC for short. These genes help your immune system recognize threats. And remarkably, several studies, including work by the Swiss biologist Klaus Wedekind, have found that people tend to prefer the body odor of partners with different MHC profiles than their own. Why would that matter? Because offspring from parents with diverse immune genes tend to have stronger, more resilient immune systems themselves. Your nose, it turns out, might be quietly screening potential partners for genetic compatibility long before your conscious mind gets involved. And a kiss brings you close enough to smell, taste, and sense all of that information at nearly point-blank range. Here's where it gets even stranger. Some researchers have proposed what's sometimes called the kiss testing hypothesis, the idea that kissing partly evolved as a way to gather information before committing to a relationship or reproduction. Not a conscious test, a biological one, running underneath your awareness, closer to a taste test than an interview. Think about what a first kiss actually involves: close physical proximity, direct facial contact, exchange of saliva and breath. From a purely evolutionary standpoint, this is an enormous amount of trust and vulnerability to extend to another person. Which raises the question, why would something so revealing become such a common, almost universal courtship behavior? One answer lies in oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. Kissing triggers its release, particularly in women, according to research on the neurochemistry of romantic touch. Oxytocin plays a major role in attachment, trust, and pair bonding. In other words, kissing doesn't just gather information, it also chemically reinforces connection, encouraging partners to stay close and invest in each other. But the story gets more layered when you look at gender differences. A widely cited study by the evolutionary psychologist Gordon Gallup found that men, on average, report placing significantly higher importance on kissing before sex than women do, and are more likely to want to kiss even in casual encounters, while women more often use kissing as an ongoing tool to monitor a relationship's health over time. This doesn't mean one approach is right and the other wrong. It suggests kissing may serve slightly different evolutionary functions depending on reproductive strategy and investment. For men, historically, paternity certainty was a major evolutionary pressure. A kiss, especially deep kissing involving saliva exchange, may function partly as a mechanism for detecting infidelity, exposure to other partners, or shifts in hormonal state. For women who face different reproductive costs and investments, kissing may function more as an ongoing calibration tool, a way to continuously reassess a partner's affection, health, and commitment. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Kissing isn't unique to humans. Bonobos, one of our closest living relatives, engage in mouth-to-mouth contact remarkably similar to kissing, often during moments of social bonding and conflict resolution. Chimpanzees have been observed doing something similar as well. This suggests the roots of kissing may stretch back millions of years, long before anything resembling human romance existed. So if kissing has such deep evolutionary roots, why do some human cultures skip it entirely? The answer might come down to how different environments and social structures shaped courtship. In societies with more communal living, group oversight of relationships, or arranged partnerships, some of the information a kiss traditionally provides may have already been supplied through other social channels. Kissing, in that sense, may be less a universal instinct and more a flexible tool, one that gets emphasized or abandoned depending on what a culture already knows about its potential partners through other means. Which brings us back to that ordinary moment at the start. Two people leaning toward each other, eyes closing, lips touching. It feels spontaneous. It feels emotional. And it is. But underneath that emotion sits an ancient, largely invisible system, quietly gathering data about health, genetic compatibility, and commitment, then translating all of it into a feeling you simply call attraction. Tonight, if you kiss someone you care about, notice how ordinary it feels. Notice how little thought goes into it. And somewhere underneath that ease, a biological interview is running exactly as it has for millions of years, older than language, older than romance itself, still quietly asking the same question it always has. Are you the right one?